If you ever needed a tutorial on how to get your male manipulator boyfriend to breastfeed, this might just be your movie. Hi, my name is Zach, and this movie is a beautiful movie to watch, especially with the family, because if you've got a little baby that's learning how to latch, it really have a teaching moment for you.
Did my ears deceive me?
Anyways, jokes aside, this movie is really good. Acting is great. By the way, if you live in Los Angeles and if you're looking for an actor, check me out because I am in dire need of employment.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
That is the whole reason why I created this YouTube channel. I am dying for work, please. Anyways, this movie is great. It's fun, acting solid, twists and turns all around, and here is my Barbarian recap.
The rumors are true. I will be drinking an enormous amount of alcohol tonight.
This movie opens up with the most dangerous place to be in America. Single family homes in Detroit. So, yeah. Our main girl Tess eventually pulls up to the one gentrified home on the block, and she opens up her phone to see that this guy named Marcus. And lo and behold, Marcus is a flop. He does not chart at all because he's not in the movie at all. It's just like a couple texts from him, and that's about it. But anyways, she scrolls past Marcus, and then we see that there's a bunch of rules on her phone. So she's actually booked this as an Airbnb. She eventually walks up to the front door of the Airbnb, and lo and behold, the lockbox is empty. Almost as empty as my DMs.
Well,
the key is nowhere to be seen. There's no key. Tessa eventually tries to call the landlord, who doesn't end up picking up, and then she finally looks around the neighborhood and notices, oh wait, this is the only house that's like not in shambles. Like this is the only house that isn't looking like it just got blown up in like a nuclear bomb.
Street length, 58 to Broadway.
Girl, did you not look at Google Maps before renting out this place? Why didn't you check that out first? That would have been the first thing I checked out. So you just stayed in this place because, what, it was cheap? No prior investigation to it? All right, Tess, you're not looking too smart right now. I'm a little bit worried for your IQ, because what the happened there?
Dumb pumpkin!
Then a light turns on in the house, and for some reason, Tess is like, you know what? I'm not going to call the police, and I'm not going to leave, because I'm not a dumbass. You know what? I'm actually going to ring the doorbell of this building, which is like, you're just kind of asking for it now, because no one else is in this neighborhood, so no one's going to actually come for you. And guess who answers the front door? Pennywise. Bill Skarsgård. He opens up the door and is like, hey girl, what are you doing here? And the two divas have a little bit of a bad introduction because they're both like, well, I rented out the Airbnb. So they both rented the same place out, but like on two different websites. So it's like a little cute mix up, but it's also kind of giving, well, girl, he's gonna kill you. Because he looks scary as shit, and this man's always cast as like the evil man. Like, truth be told, you're gonna get murdered. He's gonna eat your ass. Literally gonna be f***ing fresh part 2. You need to watch out, Tess. He then invites her into the house, and for some reason, Tess agrees. Like, for all we know, this man is literally a Steve Buscemi body double who could commit a mass stabbing on your body and then recreate the preacher's daughter Ethel Cain core. Anyways, moving on from that stupid decision. Once Tess enters the home, we eventually see that it's just like your average Airbnb, like cutesy, like white girl quotes on the wall kind of vibe.
It's so preppy in here.
And then she immediately goes, you know what? I need to go to the bathroom. So she goes in the bathroom, she drops a log. But before clipping that log, she yells out to Pennywise and is like, hey diva, can you actually pull out that reservation so I can see it? Because truth be told, I don't believe you. Truth be told, I want to see if you're actually supposed to be in this Airbnb with me because things just aren't adding up. And turns out he actually does have a reservation. So like, I mean, maybe he's good, but call me a QAnon conspiracy theorist because I think that this man actually faked that reservation because he looks a little bit scary and I don't trust Bill Skarsgård. You played Pennywise.
The Joker is me!
He also offers her some like wine and some tea, which is like, okay, dude, like you're literally looking like the killer. You're gonna scare off the hose, dude. Like,
y'all, we leaving right now.
And chill. Luckily, Tess isn't taking any of his over-the-top milady vibes and is like, you know what? This man's a freak. I've got to find a new hotel because I can't stay here with this young man. He's gonna eat me alive, full Yellow Jacket style.
Dear dead hunter guy, did OJ do it?
So she's like, you know what? I'm gonna call around and hopefully I get a new place. But those calls, they don't do anything because turns out there is a convention in the area and she cannot book another hotel. So she's kind of screwed. So she's like, I guess I could stay here. And he offers up the idea of maybe he's going to sleep on the couch and she can sleep in the bedroom, which like, he's in the doghouse.
We're gonna vibrate.
Tess reluctantly agrees to stay inside of the home when all of a sudden Pennywise is like, hey girl, do you want some tea? For a second time. Like, come on, dude. This is giving a little bit Get Out vibes. You're freaking me out. You're freaking all the hoes out. And then he's like, you know what? Can I actually take your luggage into the home? Sir, what are you trying to get a look at? Are you trying to see if she's got a rose toy, a tampon? Like, what do you have? You have evil intentions. That's what you have.
Evil burger with a side of horror fries.
And then, while he's away, she's like, you know what? I'm going to look for his ID because I need some form of solid evidence that this is a real human being and not a monster. So she takes a picture of his little Twinkie mug. And then Tess decides to take a shower, and once she comes out, she actually sees that Pennywise has set up a little dinner with her with some unopened wine. And she's like, I'm not drinking that shit. And he's like, I knew you would say that. It's unopened because, well, I didn't want you to get the sense that I was going to roofie you.
You know what? Anyway.
But for some reason, Tess decides to sit down, and she's like, you know what? I'm not going to drink that little chug jug of yours. I'm going to just have a nice, sober night with you. And while having their weird little dinner, Pennywise decides to ask, what are you doing in Detroit? And Tess is like, well, I'm here because I'm interviewing for a position as a researcher for a documentary filmmaker. I don't know if you've ever heard of their documentary. It's called Blue Easy. And he's like, no way. I've seen that. I love that movie. And she's like, no, you haven't. Like, dude, that's not, no one's seen that movie. And he's like, no. I was in the band for that movie. And she's like, what are you talking about?
No one's seen that movie.
That would make you like really rich and famous, and that would be really weird that you are staying in an Airbnb with me who's interviewing for a position for this filmmaker that has this connection to you. This doesn't feel like a coincidence. It sounds like you planned that.
So?
No, I'm saying
what now?
At least that's what I'm hoping she's thinking, because that's what I would be thinking. But lo and behold, she's not thinking that, because she's like, actually, because there's this coincidence, I'm going to wind down. And so she decides, I'm going to drink that wine. And they have a little bit of a chat, and he's like, you know, you're just such a charming girl. And he's really chatting her up. And she's like, roles were reversed, dude. Like, I wouldn't have let you in the home. And he's like, what the you mean? You wouldn't let me in the home? You know I'm a nice guy. And she's like,
hell no, I wouldn't have let you in. Do you think I'm crazy?
and he's like, but not all men. And I'm like, yeah, but you need to shut the up, sir, because you're starting to piss me off. Pennywise eventually wishes Tess a good night, and they go to their separate rooms. And it's going all great and good, but she forgets to lock that door to that bedroom. And so in the middle of the night, the door creaks open, and she turns over and she's like, what the was that? No. And she sees Pennywise freaking it. Oh, wait, no. He's just having a freaky dream. So with him having his freaky dream, she's like, hey, dude, did you open up my door? And he freaks out. And so now Tess looks like the monster and Pennywise looks like the innocent bystander. So then Tess decides to go back to her bedroom and she actually locks the door this time. And she eventually wakes up the next morning and she is late for her documentary interview. Shit. When she notices, oh, there's a little note from Penny. He's like, I had a great night. It's beautiful. Loved seeing you. Good luck with your interview. And she's like, never judge a book by its cover. Never judge a book when the cover literally says, I'm going to kill you and eat you on it. Yeah. And as she's walking out of the Airbnb, she once again notices, oh wait, the neighborhood's not good. Girl, do I have to reiterate? This neighborhood should have been checked out and approved by you prior to booking this place. I don't know how you didn't notice that the neighborhood was literally just filled with like shacks of homes with no one living in them. Tess eventually does the interview and it goes super well. Tess is like, wow, I love working in documentary film, whatever the blah, blah, blah. Doing great until Tessa's like, yeah, I'm actually staying in a place called Brightmoor. Like, have you ever heard of it? I know it's a cute little neighborhood. And the interviewer's like, oh, you shouldn't be there. That area is literally population 0. And normally I'm against this little gentrifier attitude. But at this point, after seeing that neighborhood filled with monster houses all around,
I won't be seeing you later.
I'm kind of agreeing with her, girl, because no one lives there. You're literally living in a Last of Us type of world. And Tessa's like, yeah, you're probably right, but I'm just not going to listen to you because although you're probably a native Detroiter, native New Yorker, I don't give a f***. I'm going to go back to my place and I'm going to have a fun time with my freaky little Pennywise. So she returns to Brightmoor, and as she's walking up to the front steps of her apartment, this guy starts running after her, screaming, "Come here!" And she's freaking out. She's like, oh my god, I'm literally gonna get human trafficked. I knew I shouldn't stay here. I should have listened to the documentary filmmaker. What the f is happening? And then when she eventually gets into the house, the guy is yelling, come out that house! Go away! Come out that house! And she's like, dude, I don't know what to do. Like, he's freaking me out. And it's like, maybe you should listen to that guy because maybe there's something worse. Maybe there's something unspeakable inside that house. And so to remedy the situation, Tess decides, I'm going to call the police, which is like a normal thing to do, except the police are like, well, I know you guys give us millions every year, and I know we're supposed to do our job, but we just don't want to do that. And apparently we have no more units to use, so I don't know, deal with it yourself. So to get over this confrontation with the police, Tess is like, you know what I like doing? I like dropping logs. So she goes back to the bathroom.
Screaming in public restrooms.
And in the middle of, doing her thing, she notices, oh, there's no more toilet paper. So she goes on a little excursion around the house, and then she eventually goes down to the basement. And she's like, all right, there's no toilet paper down here. And then the basement door slams on her. So Tessa's a little worried. But then her worry grows a little bit more when she notices, oh wait, my phone's actually in the bathroom. And then that worry grows even more when she's like, oh wait, and the front door key's in my pocket, so no one can get into the house, even if they found me. Ooh, now I'm panicking.
Don't panic. No, I am, because I'm going to lose my job.
So Tess goes into super nanny mode because she's going to save the world.
You guys do need my help, because this is totally unacceptable. I'm on my way.
And she's looking around, she's like, okay. Why is there a string in the wall? So she pulls that string and she's like, oh wait, that opens up a secret door. Wait, what? Who needs a secret door in their basement unless they're the killer? And when she opens up the secret door, she notices, oh wait, it actually just opens up to a black tunnel. Okay, that's a little bit scary. So she stops with the spooky edging and decides, I'm going to wait for Pennywise on the little steps of the basement because I'm done with this. But wait, no, she realizes she hasn't spooky gooned enough, so she decides, I'm going to grab the mirror inside this basement and reflect the light into the tunnel. Yes, she's got that Sherlock Holmes mind. And with a reflection of the light on the mirror, she sees there's a door. Oh wait, there's literally a door. Maybe that door has the Fortnite Battle Pass inside of it.
Fortnite.
So she decides, I'm going to go down there. And she opens up the door and she's like, oh wait, no, there's no Fortnite in here. It's actually literally the Mr. Beast 100 Days of Isolation room.
I built a giant death trap.
Because this thing looks like a Saw movie set. It is insane. It is like a nasty green tint all over the walls. There's a camera pointing at a destroyed bed. There's a handprint on the wall. There's a poop bucket. But while in the Mr. Beast room, she hears Pennywise knocking on the front door. And she's like, oh my God, my savior, he's here. And I'm sitting over here like, no, that's not your savior. That man literally made the swampy sex dungeon. He's gonna trap you there. Do not get his attention. You better break open that window right when he gets into the home and leave, because if he sees you down there, girl, he's gonna gut you. I don't know what you're thinking. Against my better judgment, she decides she's gonna knock on the window. She gets his attention. She gives him the key. He walks into the house and she's like, hey girl, we need to go because this is the killer's home. When she eventually tells him about the room, he's like, but wait, you kind of gagged. What if you waited outside of the tunnel and I went in and I reported back to you because I'm curious. You got my little noggin turning. So he goes down there and Tess is like, we should go, guys. We should go. You're freaking me out. I don't want to see this. So she's yelling out for him. He's not even responding. And she's like, okay. So she decides to go into the tunnel again and she goes into the Mr. Beast room and she's like, well, he's not in here. Where the did he go? And I'm sitting over here like, girl, check the walls. He probably went in the walls. I don't know. He's the killer. And then she sees there's another door. So she opens up that door and she's like, oh wait, this is like a full Minecraft mine shaft. And then she starts hearing Pennywise. And she's like, I guess I have nothing else to do. I'll help him. Tess. And for some reason, Tess gets white boy fever like every one of you other freaks and decides, I'm going to go down this Minecraft mine shaft for this young man. And so she descends down the stairs and let me tell you, her screams for Pennywise are actually so well done. And so she eventually gets down to the bottom of the mine shaft and there's like a weird architectural theme of the building. I don't know what was going on. Why is there like 1920s elevator gates? Why are there human-sized Farmville cages everywhere? Like there's a weird vibe going on. It's a bit strange. Like it kind of is starting to look like, well, yeah, like a Mr. Beast set. Like this is what I can only imagine the extras have to be sitting in while they're waiting for their 2 minutes of screen time.
I built a massive isolation chamber.
But she eventually bumps into Pennywise, who's giving the full alpha mega experience to her on his all fours. Being like, hey girl, you need to be quiet. You're scaring me. You're giving furry. Get off those all fours. Come at me. And he's like, something bit me. And I'm like, oh, are you a werewolf now? What is going on? And he's like, no, something bit me. Something's not human here. We need to get out. And she's like, well, yeah, let's go the way I came in. Like, we know where to go. And he's like, no, we can't go there. Let's go this way. Actually, no, I still don't trust you, Bill Skarsgård, because you're literally a monster. You're gonna kill her. Until all of a sudden, this Midwestern white mother comes up behind him and grabs his head and smashes him to the wall.
Good for her.
Something was definitely there, and it wasn't Bill. He wasn't the evil guy. Maybe I misjudged a white man? That doesn't sound right. So, Tess is actually trapped down there with this white diva, and then all of a sudden, we cut to California. Just a moment of silence for Tess, I guess. Now we cut to the beautiful beaches of Malibu. And yes, I know, you want to hear more about Tessa's storyline, but we'll hear about her later. Right now we gotta focus on Justin Long from Jeepers Creepers canon doing carpool karaoke on the PCH in Malibu. Well, yes! Justin eventually gets a call from his team who's saying that a woman named Megan actually is accusing him of assaulting her, and well, he's gonna get fired from the show. So Justin doesn't really seem like the Justin we fell in love with in Jeepers Creepers. Actually, he seems like the Jeeper Creeper himself.
I'm really excited for the new movie, I exclaimed with excitement. Little did I know, it would be a feature, a creature feature, featuring the creature.
He then meets up with his financial advisor who's like, hey girl, you're poor, and it looks like you're going to be even more poor because you're going to be out of work for a while because you're getting canceled, maybe even going to prison. So I think you should sell your homes in LA and then maybe just move into one of your homes in Michigan. You know what else is in Michigan? Right.
Was it crispy?
No.
Yeah, right.
So then we cut to him actually inside of a parking lot getting ready for a flight to Michigan. And his publicist calls him and is like, hey dude, like, where are you? Like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm going to Michigan. He's like, dude, you committed a crime. This is like hella suspicious. Why are you going across state borders? It looks like you're running away. Justin eventually arrives at his home, and it's the same house that the two divas from before were staying at. So does he know about this mother living inside of this home? Truth be told, I don't think he did. He looks a little bit too stupid to be able to make something like that. But let's still be a little bit suspicious of his actions. And while walking up to the house, we eventually see that Tessa's car is still there, which only confirms that that diva is still down in the mine shaft. Dead or alive, we don't know, but girl, she's mining. And she better have found diamonds at that. And once inside the house, Justin eventually sees the chair that's been keeping the basement door open is still there. So he decides, I'm just going to take it out of there. So he takes the chair out, basically locking Tess inside of the basement. He starts seeing, oh wait, there's like still luggage here. Like the previous tenants probably left in a hurry, or maybe they never left at all. But Justin does not care. Why would he care? And so he calls up his renting association and is like, hey divas, when was the last renter staying here? And they're like, well, it's been like a couple weeks now. A couple weeks? So Tessa's been stuck down there for a couple weeks? Are we joking?
Somebody call 911.
Are we joking? So she's dead. I love Tess. And now we're just stuck with Justin Long being a freak. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. We also get a phone call from Justin and his mother where his mother's like, hey diva, like, when are you coming back to Michigan? I want to see you. I know there's a lot of bad stuff going on in the news right now, but I want to see you. And he's like, oh, I don't know, mom. I don't know if I'm going to be back in Michigan for a while, which is a damn lie, sir. So we know that he hates his mom and also just hates every woman on the planet Earth. And then he gets a call from his friend and he's like,
What up, Guess who's back in town?
So he goes queening out in the town, goes to a bar, and he's talking with his friend, and he's like, hey, I have to confess something to you. I did have sex with Megan, and she did take some convincing, but she totally wanted it. I'm gonna castrate you, Justin Long. I'm going to grab your balls from the back, light them on fire, and then cut them off with a scythe. You will not survive. Moving on. And after this night out, Justin drunkenly calls Megan and is like, hey, two people can have different memories of the same thing, which is so powerful. Justin. Yeah, two people can have different memories of the same thing, and you can think it's great, and she can actually want to kill you and have a legal right to. He eventually wakes up the next morning and he hears something from the basement. And so he grabs a little flashlight and a petite little knife and is like, whatever's down there, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. So he goes down there and he's like, what is this mirror doing here? What is this secret door of sorts? So he gets a little bit curious. He starts reenacting the same thing that our girl Tess did, but like on a much lower IQ level. So he decides, I'm going to open up the secret door. And he sees a secret tunnel. And he's like, well, this is suspicious. And so he goes down the tunnel and then he sees the Mr. Beast room. And he's like, yo, I never thought I'd say this, but this swampy sex dungeon is beautiful.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah,
Imagine how much more expensive I can sell this home for. This is great, the square footage. And I guess all we have to say about this is there's a positive to everything. There's a positive to every swampy sex dungeon that you find in your home. And so to go and confirm how much money this will actually bring in, he goes back upstairs to get a tape measure and starts measuring the entire room. When he eventually notices, oh wait, there's a secret tunnel. And so he opens up the tunnel again and sees, oh, this is a mine shaft. And he doesn't get scared of this. Actually, he's very happy. Actually, he's happier than a man who tells a woman to smile.
So smile!
He's in love with this shit. He's like, all right, this may be scary. This might be giving Silent Hill, but maybe the Silent Hill is the money we can make along the way. So he goes down there and he starts measuring the stairs. And he's having a great time. He's passing by the human-sized cages. He's doing great until he sees, wait, there's a pink room? Wait, I saw the TV glow. There's bedsheets on the floor. There's a dirty blanket, and there's a TV playing a woman breastfeeding. Is this a straight man's bedroom? But while Justin Long is hypnotized by the boobs on TV, his measuring tape actually gets yanked out of his hand so hard that he actually drops his butter knife. We gagged. We gagged. He gagged. I gagged. Justin then starts running in the opposite direction of the entrance, and then he drops his flashlight. And then we get to see the white mother chasing him, and then Justin eventually falls into a pit where Tess has actually been living for the past 4 weeks. So she is alive. Tess stands rise. Finally, we get some good news about this movie. And once again, we cut away from these dark times to much better times. 1950s Detroit. And I know what you're saying. Better for who? Better for this white Republican man. Yes, we're following a white man, and he actually owns the Airbnb that we're staying in. We then follow this man to the grocery store who tells one of the workers, hey, me and my wife are actually doing a home birth. And I'm like, sir, you better not be doing a home birth inside of that Mr. Beast room, because if you are, the Lord will be watching. And to help this young man out with this home birth, the woman decides to give him the same tape that is playing inside of the pink lair. Yeah, it's not looking too good for this young man. I think he might be worse than Justin Long. He eventually stops harassing the grocery store workers and decides, I'm actually going to harass another woman. So he follows this woman home and decides to go into her house dressed up as a maintenance man, and he goes into their bathroom to unlock their bathroom window. So, my guess is that he's going into these women's houses under the guise of being a maintenance worker to find a way to then get into the house later, to capture them and then put them inside of that Mr. Beast room. And then we cut to him having a conversation with his neighbor who's saying, hey dude, we're going to be leaving because
neighborhood's going to hell.
And yeah, this young man is actually going to stay in his home because he's like, well, there's no place like home. And that home is not giving a home. It's giving hoarders. And then he goes into the basement and then we hear a woman scream. Cut to the present day, and Tess is actually yelling at Justin Long for not telling anybody that he came to this home. Which, yes, yell at that young man, because what the are you doing going to Michigan and not telling anyone that you're going into this home?
It took you 4 seconds to piss me off again!
And then the mother lowers her hand into the pit, holding a sippy cup, and is shaking it around being like, hey, is anyone gonna suck it? And Tess motions over to Justin being like, hey girl, you need to suck it. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So Tess is like, I guess I'll do it. She sucks like the nasty, hairy sippy cup because she's the only one with brains. She's the only one that knows that you have to comply with this diva's demands. And because of Justin's refusal to suck it, Mother actually grabs him and drags him out of the pit for some extracurricular female education. And Tessa's like, oh, finally, I have a plan to escape because Justin brought a little butter knife and a light. So, girl, I might be able to leave. But before she could escape the proximity of the pleasure room, she accidentally hits Justin's measuring tape. And it makes a really loud noise, and it alerts the mother. And so Tessa's like, shit, I really got to make like a run for it now. Like, I've got to run away from this woman, like a Republican running away from his pregnant wife. So she's running up the mine shaft stairs, and then Tess eventually gets to the basement and notices the basement door is actually locked. So she goes to the basement window, smashes through it, and she crawls out of there, narrowly making the escape from the mother. And the only reason why she was able to narrowly escape the mother is because the homeless guy from before grabbed her and dragged her out. And I think I'm just going to change his name to Jesus, because that young man, well, he was a savior. And I know that he was trying to warn her from the beginning, saying, come on, girl, don't go in that home.
Please pick me up.
But after escaping, Tess eventually confesses that she wants to go back in there to save Justin. And I just have to say, Ma was going to make you suck. She was going to make you suck. Don't go back in there for Justin. He doesn't deserve you. And to make Tess forget about Justin, Jesus is like, hey, girl, that woman is not the worst thing in there. What do you mean that woman is not the worst thing in there? What is in there? A nuclear-powered rose toy? Is that the thing that's worse in there? Do not go back. Actually, in fact, you need to run, because at nighttime, she comes out. She comes out? Oh, so she definitely was the one taking a peek at Tess that night. Okay. We then cut back to Justin, who's now making his escape from the pleasure room, and he sees a little string on the wall with a bell attached. So he's like, all right, I'll follow that. So he follows the string, and then we cut back to Tess, who's now walking around Brightmoor, literally scared out of her mind. And guess who's not there? Jesus. Jesus left her. I thought we were in this together, dude. Cut back to Justin, who's now followed the string all the way to a dead end where there's a door, and it's looking awfully sinister. And then he turns around, and Mother's there. And Mother's like, hey, girl, don't go in there. And he grabs the door and she starts backing away. I think we found the thing that was worse than her. And then Justin opens up the door, and then we cut back to Tess, who's now at a gas station begging for a phone because that girl needs to call the cops. Go back to Justin, who's now exploring this new room, and tell me why it looks like a straight guy New York City apartment. Like, there's archived media on the TV, there's no windows, and there's just clothes all over the floor. And then all of a sudden we hear this coughing, and he turns around, well, there's this old dude, and this old dude is coughing on the bed. Who the are you? And this man is like old. Like, not just like regular old, like he's like Prince Philip old. Like, so old he looks like a melted wax figure. Like, come on, dude, give it up. Sorry, I didn't mean to be ageist. Joe Biden, I love you. Justin is obviously freaked out by this young man, but like, why is he kind of giving Hobbit? Like, who is this creature? Is this a creature feature? Cut back to Tess, who's actually asking the police to go and check out the house, because she's like, hey guys, there's someone actually inside of this home and we need to save him. And by the way, there's a basement and a mine shaft. Like, y'all could get diamonds from it. Like, but they kind of don't believe her because they're like, well, she's off the fence. Like, she looks crazy.
Backwards from Z to A.
I wouldn't even be able to do that if I was sober.
Okay.
Cut to Justin telling the Hobbit man, hey dude, don't worry. I know you've been down here for a long time. I'm going to get you out of here. And the Hobbit man starts freaking out, but he's not saying anything. And then he motions over to his side table for Justin to pull it over. And we're all like, okay, dude, are you really going to pull over that side table after that weird freak shit? Like, this man is definitely the old Republican from earlier, but Justin doesn't know that. So Justin decides, well, I'm going to pull over the side table and let you rummage through it. And this Hobbit man is rummaging through it like he's looking for the mystery mouse Cthulhu. What are you looking for, sir? Cut to Tess back at the Airbnb, now with the police pleading for them to break into the home to go and save Justin. And they're like, you don't own the home, so like, we can't do anything about it. And then they get a call from someone else and they're like, we gotta go. And so now Tess is back at square one. And I'm like, all right. I mean, I didn't think the police were so useless. What the hell? So now she's back at the home. It's about to be sundown, and Justin is still in the home. And we cut back to Justin, who spots some DVD tapes, and he's like, all right, I'm in the mood for a movie. Let's go and look at these. And they have the names of these women. These women and some really insidious acts done on these women. And he's like, dude, what are you watching, Hobbit man? And so he decides to pick up one of the tapes and plays it out of morbid curiosity, like every other man in this movie. We then cut back to Tess, who breaks open one of the windows and grabs her car keys and gets back into her car. And we're like, okay, work. You're finally going to get to escape. You're going to drive away. And I'm proud of you. I'm really happy for you, Tess, because you need to leave. You need to leave. Then cut back to Justin, who has just finished watching the tape, and he's like gagged. He's gagged. And then he turns around and he sees the Hobbit man, and the Hobbit man is actually aiming the gun at him. Gag! And then the Hobbit man aims the gun back at himself, and we're like, oh, gag. And then the Hobbit man shoots himself, and we're like, oh, gag. I mean, gag not in like a, ooh, that gagged. More like a, well, that gagged. Cut back to Tess, who has reversed her car in such a way that it looks like she's going to run into the house. And then all of a sudden, the mother jumps out of the house, and then she crashes into the house. Oh. So mother's dead on the windshield of Tess's car. And not only is the mother dead, but the car is also dead, because there's no way that that thing is driving anymore. Tess, you just lost your one way out of suburbia. You're not walking in Detroit. How are you leaving? You should have just driven home. Don't piss me off, Tess. So now with the mother dead, Tess decides, I'm going to go down into the basement. And so she starts going back into the tunnels to reunite with Justin, just like Justin is finally escaping the little room with the Hobbit. And then all of a sudden, Tess sees a little light at the end of the hall, and she's like, is this the Tooth Fairy? What is that? And then, oh, she was shot. Oh, Tess was shot, actually. So Justin actually shot Tess, and he's like, oh, sorry. I thought you were that ugly white mother because you guys look alike. Sir, she is 5'2". That mother is at least 6'8". That play in basketball leagues. This little girl couldn't even qualify. So Justin decides to finally grow a pair and helps Tess walk out of the basement, which is the first nice thing this guy has done to her. So they finally escape, and then they notice, oh wait, mother's actually not on the car anymore. Tess, you just wasted your perfectly normal car that you could have driven away with, and now you have no way of home. And this mother is out there. And it's nighttime now, by the way, so she can go anywhere. The world is her oyster, and you're getting eaten. And so to hide from mother, they run off to this weird, rusty, old factory where Jesus has been living for a while. And once they finally get to the rustic factory, Jesus goes on and tells them a story about how mother was created. And he's like, basically this Hobbit guy decided to kidnap women and then make babies with them. And then he would make babies with said babies of these women. And then once you make a copy of a copy of a copy, well, you get something like that mother. That diva is a copy of a copy of a copy, so she's like incestual paradise, if you will. And after this massive reveal of information about the mother, Justin is like, hey, I need to take this moment to confess something. I shot Tess. It was on accident, though, and I think from now on, I'm going to be good to women. I'm going to love women so much. You have never seen someone love women so much, actually. It's going to be crazy. I'm going to love women so much they're not even going to know what to do with it. And then mother breaks right through the wall and then rips Jesus limb from limb.
No! Giant pork!
Oh shit. That's pretty bad. And then lo and behold, Justin actually doesn't stick to his word and runs away from the mother, leaving Tess to limp away from mother. So whatever happened to you loving woman? Sir, you just ran away from Tess. You just let her die, basically. But Tess actually gets to live, and so she follows Justin all the way up this weird, like, rusty silo thing. And once Justin eventually gets to the top of the tower, he actually pulls out his gun where he plans on shooting mother, and then he actually drops the gun. So, that wasn't a great plan, and mother starts climbing up the silo. And Justin's like, I guess we're gonna die, Tess. I'm really sorry. And then he hugs her. And then he throws her off the silo. Throws her off the silo right as mother actually gets up to the top of the silo, and she's like, oh my god, my baby. So she jumps off the silo and she grabs Tess. And so she actually cushions Tess's fall, and Tess is able to survive this because mother was mothering. But like,
took the poop out and put it in his cat's litter box.
Justin, what are you doing? You just threw her off the ledge as if 5 seconds before you weren't like, I just love women. I just love women so much. I need to save all women.
You don't want to scramble the eggs.
And then Justin eventually decides, I'm going to walk down there and I'm going to check on Tess. And while checking on Tess, he's like, I didn't mean for that. I wanted to save us, and I knew the only way to do it was throwing you off. And it's like, okay, dude, like, clearly you don't believe you're saying, because what is that? That's the worst excuse I've ever heard. And then mother actually grabs Justin and puts her fingers into his eyes and splits his head in half. It was one of the most graphic deaths ever, but trust and believe, I was kind of clapping. I was like, yeah, kill his ass. I don't care. die. That's not the Justin Long I know and remember. That is the Justin Long from hell. So Justin's dead and Mother turns around to Tess. And we're like, well, is she going to do the same to her? And Mother actually starts comforting Tess because she notices Tess has been shot by Justin. And there's all these scratches on her because, I mean, the girl's been through it that day. But in the middle of Mother actually trying to mother, Tess grabs the gun and shoots Mother. Mother no more. Shit. And Tess finally stands up and walks away to the song Be My Baby. Finally, she gets to be happy. I love Tess. She is such a good final girl, and I love that they played Be My Baby because that's like kind of camp. But this movie was so good. Acting phenomenal. I love the random switch of main characters right in the middle with Justin Long. It's so well done. I love the weird twist it has. I like that they cast Bill Skarsgård as the main guy in the beginning because I mean, he's notorious for playing like evil people. And I think it's a really interesting way of portraying men because each of these men have these weird morbid curiosities that leads to their downfall. And at the same time, they refuse to believe in the woman around them. But overall, even if you don't want to look at the moral questions this movie provides, it's still a really entertaining movie, like peak cinema. I think we should all watch this movie with our families. I loved it. I had fun watching it. And once again, if any of you Los Angeles people have a movie that you would love to see me in, please cast me. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll post another video in like 2 weeks. Bye.
My cave has stalagmites. This is a nice way of saying I have hemorrhoids.